Hey everybody, it's John and Jackie of OpenLove101.com. Welcome to our show. This is another episode of Ask John and Jackie, and so we're going to turn it over to Courtney with our amazing questions from our viewers.
Hello guys. Perfect. So the first question comes from Reddit. The question is, hey, myself and my wife are new to this. We're both women and poly, but sometimes we just want sexy times with someone fun without the relationship ties. Thing is, we're both women into women. I don't see a lot of lady representation when I look up swinger groups or even women-only groups. Any idea where we should direct our researches? And how can someone enter... No, sorry. That's it.
That's enough. That's a great question. We've never had any question like that before.
You know, I think it's really common in gay relationships to, at least from my my male gay friends that are really swingers.
Well, yeah.
And so that's kind of what she's indicating there in her question is she's saying, you know, we're here we are. We're normally, you know, it's her and I, but every once in a while we want to play with somebody else. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you know, one way I would imagine is just like with men I know, they go to gay clubs and they meet single men in the gay clubs. You could go to just a regular, you know, a lesbian club as a couple and meet other women there that might not be in a relationship or open to being in a more open relationship like that and just, you know, having a one night stand or whatever it turns out to be.
Yeah. I mean, the adult social sites might have that as well.
So on the adult social sites, I mean, they have like, you could go to the swinging social sites like we could do, SDC.com or lifestylelounge.com. And on there, just do a search for bisexual women. Right. And find women that way. And there's plenty of single women on those sites as well.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. There's a lot of women that are in the lifestyle that do consider themselves bi. So even just going to a club, you could find women that would be interested in playing. Yeah. Now, whether you would be able to find another female couple, you know, that might take some actual. You know,
but I think they're talking about looking for a single, just a one.
Yeah,
one
but
person,
if they're just looking for one person, then you absolutely
like
could just go to a club and find that.
Yeah, and I think another way would be, you know, I know there's dating sites out there for couples like Tinder. There's dating sites out there for men like Grindr. I would imagine there's some out there for women, and if there are, I would go to one of those sites and just, you know, let people know that you're a couple looking for a single for play, and I would imagine they're out there. So,
and if they can't find one, maybe they should start one. You know, because there's an audience for that, I'm sure.
Yeah, there is for sure.
Yeah, so that's a good question.
Perfect. This question comes from our Instagram. So thank you for answering the poll that we sent out on Friday. The question is, how can someone enter the lifestyle without an emotional partner?
Oh, so basically you're just a single person, right?
I guess that's what that means.
Is that what that means? That's what I take it to mean. That's my interpretation of that question.
So, you know, we just answered a question from someone that's looking for someone that's not necessarily in an emotional relationship. It would be the same thing. So you become a person out there that might get involved in the lifestyle with another couple. So couples out there are looking for either single women or single men to either be in a relationship with or just to have sex with. And that's the category you would fit into at that point.
Well, and here's the other thing. You know, as club owners, every single week we have single men and single women attend the club.
Right.
So, you know, there's definitely a lot of single people that are getting involved in the lifestyle. You don't just have to be a couple to be in the lifestyle.
No, of course
so,
not. Yeah.
You know, that you're welcome to come on in kind of thing.
Yeah, nothing says that you have to be a couple in order to partake in the lifestyle.
Right.
And, you know, the other aspect of it, too, is really just dating. I mean, you can date multiple people.
Right.
And that is essentially consensual non-monogamy. Because you're not with one person, you're with dating multiple people. And so you don't have to... I don't think it's important or necessary to think about it as being the lifestyle being about couples. It takes all kinds of people, for this to work.
Yeah. I mean, we're just society.
Yeah.
Awesome. This question comes from Reddit. The question is, my boyfriend and I are thinking about visiting a swinger club, but we have different intentions. I want to go because I love to watch other people and it turns me on the most, but I don't want to have anything with other people. My boyfriend, on the other hand, likes to be watched and he wouldn't mind other people joining us, but could go without that. Would it be okay if we went there only to watch others and to have fun in front of others while not participating or letting anyone join us?
Yes.
Yes. Well, that was easy.
It really, going to clubs or parties, there's all kinds of people. There's some parties are kind of very restrictive, and they may have rules about doing those types of things, watching or just being watched. They may want more participation in some way. But most parties that I've ever gone to, most lifestyle events, most clubs are there for all types of people and wherever they are in that moment in the lifestyle. So a lot of people start off in the lifestyle what we call soft swing, and that can mean having sex with your partner in the same room, but nothing else goes on. And then you can, broaden it a little bit more. Maybe there's just, touching or, being a little bit closer to each other. And then what you're talking about, being in a room where it's just you and your partner and other people might walk into the room just to watch and do their own thing on the side. So that's what you're talking about here. That's definitely accepted. And there's people that come to the club just to maybe enjoy it from the other side where, they want to be able to see people experiencing this sexuality together. So you're absolutely okay. If that's what you both can agree upon, it's very, very accepted. And then you can, move it forward as you feel more comfortable doing things. But I think it's great that you guys are talking about it and that you understand that you both are coming from a different place and you enjoy different things, you want to experience in different things, and then finding some common ground in those things.
Absolutely.
Perfect. The next question comes from, again, Instagram, from one of your followers. What is the oldest either swinger couple or swinger single that you have both come across while in the lifestyle?
What's the oldest? I mean,
they would be in their 80s.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know their exact ages, but we've definitely met couples and singles in their 80s out there experiencing the lifestyle.
Right.
And we've met couples in their 80s that just decided to get into the lifestyle.
Yeah. We've met newbies that were married for 55 years.
Yes. And we've met single people that maybe lost their partner.
Yes. And they still...
And then maybe they were in the lifestyle together, but now they're single in the lifestyle because their
They've
partner
lost
died.
their partner, yeah.
So we definitely all kinds in I would say the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've met anyone in their 90s yet, but...
Yes. I'm sure they're out there.
They are. I'm sure they're out there, yeah.
Perfect.
You know the cool thing about that?
What?
When you're a kid, when you're a teenager, you don't think your grandparents have sex. You don't really think of them in that way.
Or your great-grandparents.
Yeah. But we really quite a few people in their 70s and 80s that are very sexually active. And that's a beautiful thing, man. I mean, there's no reason, unless it's physical, to stop.
Yeah.
And even then,
there's
still things you can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so
absolutely.
Cool. Yeah.
This one also comes from on Facebook. And the question was, how does a complete newbie couple overcome the reluctance to swap? So I'm assuming it's a couple that likes to be watched, but they're talking about trying to swap.
Yeah.
But there's that holdout,
That's not uncommon. And there can be any number of reasons of what's causing the hesitancy with that. Maybe it's a fear. Maybe they're like I was at one point. You're really ingrained in monogamy, and swapping is going to create a deficit in the relationship, or maybe it's surfacing some fears that you have, or maybe that comparison lever gets flipped and you start thinking, oh, they're better looking, or they're thinner, or they're more muscular, or they're taller, or they're bigger, or they're thinner, any of those kinds of things. So often we can keep ourselves from doing things by what we think might possibly, maybe, could happen in the future, instead of, well, let's be positive and encouraging and confident in what it is that we're getting ready to try. So, maybe just our different view or vantage point of what it is that we're doing can help us get over that hump.
Yeah. So, I think what you're saying is you have to really pinpoint the reason in your hesitation.
Right.
So if it is fear-based, like what Jackie's talking about, a fear of something, then, maybe communicating that with your partner, and then, or finding some outside help, like with Jackie and I through coaching, and then using that to overcome the fear. One of the tools that we share with couples that maybe have a fear of being with someone, their partner being with someone else, because that's what you're talking about here, is in a swap. And it doesn't have to be this way. It could be the fear of your partner being with someone else, or it could be something that you're feeling, maybe shame of being with someone else.
Right.
So it's important to pinpoint whatever that is. One of the tools we use with with couples that are experiencing that is fantasy play. So when you are together at home in bed, fantasize and talk about it beforehand about how you're going to go about it, but fantasize being with someone else. And you and your partner can take turns doing that. You can do it at the same time and see how that makes you feel. What we have found sometimes is people realize that they're turned on by that experience. And so maybe that will help you overcome some of that fear by realizing, oh my gosh, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. It could also trigger something, and if it does, maybe it's time to stop from the fantasy play, pull back, and then at another time, look at what caused that trigger to happen. Maybe it's something from your past. Or maybe you'll recognize that you feel really guilty about it, shameful about being with someone else. Maybe you'll initially have that feeling of shame, but then you'll see your partner is turned on by it, by the fact that you're with someone else, and that might help you overcome that shame. So any of these things can help you, maybe, through the fantasy play, can help you experiment with that idea of the full swap. And then know that if you do the full swap and one of you is not feeling good about it, you can tap out. You can stop and get back together and just be with each other again. You don't have to continue on that path if it's causing you to have uncomfortable feelings.
Right.
And then maybe take a step back at another time outside the club or the hotel, wherever you are experiencing it, and then talk about it more. It's about taking baby steps to get there. So if you haven't done, soft swap, maybe that's the way you go to achieve the full swap. And then discuss why. Why do you want to have full swap? Too. Each one of you needs to talk about, what they hope to achieve from it, and be honest and vulnerable in your fears.
Yeah. Lots of conversation.
Yeah.
Perfect. This question comes from an Open Love 101 Plus member, which you can find obviously on our website if you'd like to join that. The question is, how do you deal with new couples that have jealousy issues, or maybe even people who have been in this for a while? It's hard for 2 people to date. Twice as hard for 4. Lots of emotions are here.
Yes.
I don't understand the question. I'm sorry.
So how do you deal with the new couples that have jealousy issues? So.
Oh, okay.
So you're having to deal with it with your partner already, and then if you're swapping with another couple and then you have this jealousy, how do you deal and manage everyone's?
Well, it's important to be mindful of it if you sense that's going on, and be understanding to other people's emotions, and fears. You may find couples that don't have any of those anymore. Maybe they progress. They're, a little further down the line. They've gotten through that kind of stuff, and that's ideal, of course. But definitely there's plenty of new couples out there that are facing the same challenge that you've gone through or going through. And it's just important to be mindful of that. And if they are experiencing that, just, be understanding and let, if they want to get back together and, go from full swap back to with your partner, just be cool with it. And I've talked to over the years couples that, they get upset about that. Like we were with this couple and they had some jealousy issues and the whole thing stopped. And I wish they'd have told us beforehand they were new. And, I don't know if that's really the way to be. I think it's important, if you want these couples to continue to grow, be there for them and help them through it.
Yeah, be an example. You can show them, like how you got through it, or, what your growth pattern was like. And, because here's the thing, that's not an uncommon thing. You have jealousy no matter what relationship model that you're in. So this isn't something that we've cornered the market on. If you're in a consensually non-monogamous relationship or you're trying it, and it can be a real, it can be a tool to help you recognize, what is it that I'm feeling? So I say jealousy, and that's such a broad term. It's about really, and I've said this before, it's about cooking down that term into what it is that's creating that feeling of jealousy. Are you in fear? Do you feel inadequate? Are you afraid of abandonment? There's all kinds of different spaces that feeling can be coming from. And it, even as uncomfortable as that feeling can be, it's also a signal to us, of something that maybe we can work on within ourselves. And it's another opportunity to have those conversations, whether it's with our partner or whether it's with ourselves, and feeling secure. And if we're dealing with insecurity, why are we having that? Why are we feeling jealous? And like John said, it can be a great opportunity if you can meet another couple that maybe has some tenure behind them and they're able to kind of share what worked for them or what got them through those issues. It's about being able to take our situation and how do we use it to our advantage? How do we take these tools that are right in front of us and use it in order to build something sustainable? So that's what I would suggest.
Yeah, and I think too, in a situation, we set expectations. We have these desires. We think we're going to go here. We're going to meet a couple and hook up with them and swap and have this, in our minds, we imagine what it's going to be like. And when that doesn't turn out the way we had expected, it can cause us to feel uncomfortable and have problems. So, I really encourage couples that are going out there to go in there without expectation. It may turn out to be the perfect night or blow your mind, but you may turn out you end up getting with a couple that needs a little bit of coaching and encouragement, and that can be great too, because you might be able to build a long-term relationship with someone. So
right. Because a lot of times those things are what are known as calls for love. Oh. It gives us a chance to be loving towards those people to help them.
Yeah.
So.
Perfect. And then I had a bonus question.
Uh-oh.
This is from me. Right? So I went through a whole Netflix binge, and I was watching Bridgerton, 365 Days, Outlander, and I'm noticing more lifestyle couples or lifestyle moments pop up in movie and film compared to, I didn't look for it back then, but I have to continue, why do you think it's that? I'm not seeing Outlander, for instance. Spoiler alert here. In Outlander, you have the young maid to Claire's daughter Brienne that is in a relationship with two of the brothers, right? And so she chooses both of them and marries both of them. Bridgerton in season 2, the second brother goes to a house party, basically.
Yes.
And swaps, right? The relationship's open, and he sleeps with one of his friend's wives unknowingly. Again, right? It's just under the radar. They don't say that they're open. It's alluded to it. And then in the newest 365, the main lead, Laura, has a fantasy about her with her husband and her other love interest.
Yeah.
Which is more of a threesome, obviously, but it's still, open. So my question is, why? We don't see outrage for it. We don't see it when it comes to these moments, but then if a couple came out and was talking about being in a relationship, they may have more pushback of how it's not okay. Why do you think it's now okay in film to be seen that way, but not in reality?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah, and I think, if we go back 20 years, seeing gay couples in film is more common today than it used to be. And when it did appear early on, there definitely was some backlash to it. Some people weren't comfortable with it, and it just takes time. And maybe seeing it in film is like the first step to it becoming more acceptable. As you see, because I think that's what happened. With seeing men or women, in film. You remember like Brokeback Mountain. That film caused a lot of controversy, and that wasn't that long ago. And today we see it, and you don't see the same kind of controversy. So it does, I think, by seeing it in film, start to make that relationship model be more acceptable.
I don't want to say it desensitizes us to it, but it does make it more normal, especially if it's portrayed as something normal, like it's just normally happening within the course of the show. And and if that's true, if that's happening, that's fantastic, because it starts to open up that door for people to be able to say that they're in this relationship model without there being a lot of backlash, even though there's still a lot of steps that need to happen, whether in government or society for that. But at least it's a tool, and it's a way to kind of introduce that, introduce our relationship model to the masses in a way that shows maybe a deeper side of what it is.
And I would imagine that the writers that are putting this stuff in the shows probably have some experience with lifestyle relationships.
Yeah.
Because any show out there, the person writing it, unless it's science fiction, fantasy, or something like that, probably has some experience. So maybe we're seeing more people having the courage to write about their experience and putting it on film. I think it's a great thing. It's so awesome. We've seen those episodes as well.
I know. It's like, yay.
Yes.
Right? And like everybody can still be highly functioning people.
Speaking from a marketing perspective, every time these episodes come out, I'm automatically going to Google. I'm automatically going to searches and on Twitter, and I'm waiting for them to be canceled or like some backlash. And speaking on Bridgerton, they skipped for the third season. They skipped the second brother, and everyone's speculating if they divert from the books that he may be in an open relationship because they've done tendencies. And I'm like, oh, what's the backlash here? And there's none. It's like, oh, if they wanted to do that, they've built this character. Oh, that'd be cool. He could explore his sexuality. And it's, again, we just, I've met people through you guys when I talk to others that are so scared to come out. Yeah. And then, but I see this on television and everyone's like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so we're getting there. Yeah. I feel it, it's coming.
Well, and I think you're right. I think that's probably a stepping stone for that kind of change to happen.
And I look at the really diverse, very diverse set of websites online, and there is backlash out there to some of those episodes. You just don't see it in the mainstream media so much. It's on some of these more, maybe even, I don't know. I have seen it on some sites. You definitely, when you look at the feed of comments in anything, on Daily Mail, for instance, or anything that might talk about some of those episodes, within that stream of comments, you definitely see positive and negative to it. So there's two sides out there. But the more it's out there, you're still going to have people that aren't going to be receptive to it.
Right.
But more and more people are definitely more open to it.
Right.
There's no doubt about that.
Right.
So.
Perfect. I'm glad I got this.
Great question.
That is. It's awesome.
That is all I had.
Well, thanks for being here today, Courtney. Thanks for your questions.
Yep.
And thank you for joining us today. Please sign up at openlevel101.com to our email list and receive updates on our articles or interviews that we may have. here on YouTube. Hit the blue bell to be notified of a new video. And sign up for Open Love 101 Plus for behind the scenes and other
amazing
things that you're not going to find on our regular site. So thanks for being here today.
See ya.
Great job, Jackie. And if you like that video, please click the button below. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll give you plenty of more. Plenty of more? Kidding me?